Welcome in on a frozen Monday to Locked on Astros. We are going to talk about the Dodgers effect. We're going to talk about the 5 minor leaguers invited to big league camp, and we are just 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting. Let's start right now.
Jainer Diaz, this is Locked on Astros.
Hello and welcome to Locked on Astros, your daily Astros podcast. Here are your hosts, Eric the Man Heisman and Brett H-Town Wheelhouse Chansey.
We are Locked on Houston Astros, and we update you joins for daily Locked on Astros podcast. My name is Eric Heisman. You can find me on X at Eric Talkstros. You can find the show at Locked on Astros, your team every day. Brett, where can I find you at?
They can find me at H-Town Wheelhouse on X, Instagram, and TikTok. They can find me at Stros411 on X and on Facebook. And they can find me at Back to the Bullpen on X, on Instagram, on YouTube, and iHeartRadio, where I'm always positive, always Stros. And yeah, I'm back on TikTok because I was not back, and now I'm back. So the TikTok thing rolls on. It is a crazy week coming up in the Houston area. Eric, are you ready for these frigid temperatures?
I don't think you can ever get ready for what's going to happen over the next couple of days. They're expecting between 2-4 inches snow in our area, all the way down to Galveston. When's the last time Galveston had snow? So what we're about to see is a historic. I don't think that you're going to see anything like this in a while. So guys, brace for what, like I was telling my students the other day, just brace for whatever happens and get everything taken care of this weekend, because it's going to be cold. And we know how Houston responds to coldness and ice and everything like that. But guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. Whether you're subscribed to us, go ahead and help us get to 13. Wait, we already got to 13,000. We're trying to get to 14,000 subscribers. So thank you for helping us to get to 13,000 subscribers. Now we're trying to get to 14,000 subscribers and beyond. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. From the first whistle to the final drive, FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs more exciting. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets.
Wow.
$300. Wow, that's a lot. If your first bet wins, visit FanDuel.com to get started today. Unfortunately, the Texans' final drive of the season happened this past Saturday, but it was a valiant effort. I know that a lot of people have been talking about the referees. A lot of people have been talking about the Chiefs are just a good team, but it's just unfortunate that the Texans season ended the way it did. But now we can focus on not only the rodeo coming up, but we can also focus on Astros baseball, which is what we're all here for. So, Brett, I know that we're talking about Sasaki possibly going to San Diego. That was all the rumors, and apparently he did meet with the Padres, and they offered him, from what I'm hearing, about $10 million. But he chose to go to LA. Well, everybody's choosing to go to LA.
Yes.
So we'll talk about what Joe Kelly had to say about that in a second.
Yeah, we will, because Joe Kelly had some interesting comments, even though I can't stand to listen to the guy talk or watch him perform in any facet of life, but that's a personal hang up. Look, Roki Sasaki turned down Philadelphia, turned down the Red Sox, and the Blue Jays pulled out the stops. Bo Bichette, Vlad Guerrero Jr., all the big guns showed up. They flew into Toronto just to meet with Sasaki. I mean, they were courting this 23-year-old flamethrowing Japanese pitcher who really comes in and projects to be one of the better pitchers in the major leagues immediately. And we can't, though, start with the Sasaki and the Scott signing. The Tanner Scott signing, the Dodgers did have on their radar to get a closer, and their bullpen was something they needed to address. Man, did they address it. They got the most sought-after relief pitcher on the free agent market, and Tanner Scott, who I believe pitched for the Padres this last year, if I'm not mistaken, comes into LA, and now they have this super team. But Eric, with Sasaki signing here, the writing had to be on the wall. There are teams calling for an investigation, but Major League Baseball says they've already done an investigation. It's kind of funny. How could you already have done an investigation if you didn't know where he was signing? It seems a little fishy, and teams wonder how much tampering has gone on with Roki Sasaki. Now, you can't blame the player. This is more of a teams making sure they get a fair shot. But Yamamoto and Sasaki were teammates, and apparently it hinged on a conversation they had. And look, if I'm Roki Sasaki, why would I not go where the quote-unquote greatest two-way player on the planet is in Shohei Ohtani, where my former teammate Yamamoto is, and they just won a World Series? You would probably be insane to consider other options. At that same point, the counter to that, fan bases and other teams are, nobody else really has a shot. And that goes back, after we talk about Kelly, that goes back to Ohtani. And I think this is the Ohtani effect happening more and more and more. But talk about what Joe Kelly said. And then I actually found the top 5 payrolls and the bottom 3 payrolls. And I want to show you how big of a disparity there is.
Yeah. So Joe Kelly went on, I believe it was not Baseball's Not Boring podcast. And it was kind of an emergency podcast. And he basically said, let's say there is a salary cap. You can only pay somebody like Shohei Ohtani $10. No matter where he plays, you can only pay him $10. So growing up in Japan, you Google, hey, where's the best places to visit when you go to basically go to America? Is it Minnesota? Is it Milwaukee? Thankfully, he didn't mention Houston because he knew not to rile up the Houston fans.
I was a little disappointed he didn't mention Houston. I kind of wish he would have, because I was ready to launch into a little YouTube short over that, but he didn't.
Yeah, so he kept our names out of his mouth, so to speak, to take Will Smith. But he basically said that if you Google best places to visit in America, LA comes up. And so if he's looking at, well, where do I want to live if I've never visited this country before? Of course, LA of Los Angeles of Anaheim would come up. And then now that he's kind of in that area, of course, he's going to hear all these things about, play for the Dodgers. The Dodgers are a great organization. So if the Brewers offer you $10, the Pirates offer you $10, and then you have all these other teams offering you $10, why not go to the best place, quote unquote, to play, which is an organization that has a history of winning, which is what he says. Not my words, but
right.
And pay. You may only get $8. He didn't say that because of all the state taxes, or maybe in that case, you may only get $6 of the dollars because of the tax and the federal income taxes and everything. But he just said that that's just what a lot of these Japanese players, that's why they don't typically go to the Houstons or the Milwaukees. They go to the teams on the coast.
Right. And he makes a valid point, and maybe it's the first time in my life or ever that I'll halfway agree with anything Joe Kelly says. I mean, Joe Kelly could say the sky is blue and I would deny it. Joe Kelly could say that money is green and I would deny it, but that's just, again, that's a personal hang up. But look, Eric, when we look at this, when we look at the disparity, of the payrolls, let's look at it. And this is from Spot Rack. The Dodgers, $374 million. The next team, $303 million. The Phillies, the Yankees, $298 million. The Mets, $292 million. Hold on. You mean Steve Cohen is in 4th place for money? Steve Cohen, you need to step it up, buddy. Like, you're almost $100 million off the mark. I'm pretty disappointed. The Padres at 243. Then you go down to 28. The Rays, 86. The White Sox, $79 million. The Marlins, $73 million. You have a $300 million gap. Now, if the Marlins spend $150 million in free agency, are they all of a sudden a contender? Probably not. They have a lot of needs. They're in rebuild mode, as they are every 3 or 4 years. It's cyclical for them. But Eric, this really shows you what's happening here in Major League Baseball, and the powers have shifted to the West Coast. Shohei Ohtani, this is the Ohtani effect. I'm going to say this. If you don't have Ohtani going to LA and he signs somewhere else, Yamamoto doesn't become a Dodger, Sasaki doesn't become a Dodger, and we're having a completely different conversation across the league.
And I know that this is Astros podcast. We're going to talk about this in a second, but the Astros are not. They're kind of stuck with because they're paying for some players that are no longer on their team. And don't do that in your own personal life. So we'll go ahead and talk some more Astros baseball after the break.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by Rocket Money. Let me tell you, Rocket Money is here to help you find any subscriptions that you forgot that you were paying for twice. That's right. Look, I use Rocket Money and I have found subscriptions I completely forgot I had. I was like, what is this Adobe subscription? Didn't know I had. So it helped me go through my finances. It is the best assistant. You don't have to go get a financial advisor. I mean, I'm not giving you financial advice. You can do what you want. But if you want something on your phone, easily accessed to help you save, lower your bills, Rocket Money is the place to go. Why? Because they have over 5 million users that have saved a total of $500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year while using this app's premium features. So cancel your unwanted subscriptions today and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/lockedon today. That's rocketmoney.com/lockedon. rocketmoney.com/lockedon.
I sure wish Rocket Money could help the Astros with some contracts that they're having to pay for.
Yeah. You have $36 million in bills that you shouldn't be paying. Oh, wait, never mind. You're contractually obligated. Yes, Rocket Money, unfortunately, doesn't reach into the corporate Major League Baseball world, but that would be perfect.
Yeah, but guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Go ahead and check us out. Go ahead and subscribe to us. Help us get to 14,000 subscribers. We already reached 13. It's going to take me a while to get used to that. Thank you so very much. We're trying to get to 14,000 subscribers, then 15,000 subscribers. So go and tell a friend, tell a friend to tell a friend to help us get there. And we appreciate each and every one of y'all who have become everydayers. People that listen to our podcast every day. So, Brett, I know that February is coming up. A lot of big things going on in February. I know that's when spring training starts. That's when my wedding is. There's a lot of stuff going on in February. But for right now, we're talking about can the Astros compete with what's going on in the not you read out a couple teams. Go and put that list back up there again. You have definitely the Dodgers, the Phillies, the Mets, the Padres. You have the Yankees, but the Yankees typically spend a lot of money anyway. But you have a lot of the spending going on in the National League. So can the Astros, no matter who if let's say they even make it to the World Series, I know that you and I had this discussion earlier in the year. Is the goal to make it to the World Series or win the World Series? And do they have the team to even consider winning the World Series as it sits right now?
Well, okay, so let's just say this. Let's just put a couple things on the table. Expectations are what they are for any team. Every single team every year saying we're competing for the World Series, that's just a ball-faced lie. That's just not true. There are teams that clearly are not going to compete for the World Series, i.e. the Pirates, the Marlins, I'm sorry, the Diamondbacks. I mean, I know they're good, but I'm just saying, like, there are teams that aren't like legitimate World Series contenders at this point. But when it comes to the Dodgers, if they don't win a record number of games in the regular season, and if they don't win the World Series, then every season from here until 5 or 6 years from now is a complete failure. If they don't run off, and I'm serious, 4 or 5 titles in a row, which I know the probability of that is very slim, that is the kind of expectation that you set before yourself. Now, you can't fault the Dodgers. They won the 2020 title, which was much criticized and much maligned by a lot of fans because it wasn't a full season. And then they finally won a full season World Series. And they've got a few series World Series wins under their belt. So they've had great teams in the past. But can the Astros compete in this environment? They can compete, but are they a viable option to compete? It's just hard to say, Eric.
Right.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing that we forget, and we should remember as Astros fans. Injuries happen. And while I'm not wishing injuries on any baseball player in any realm, I don't care what uniform they put on. I'm not a malicious thinker. I think that's wrong on all facets. But what if they deal with injuries? What if Shohei Ohtani comes in and has another arm surgery? What if Yamamoto goes down? What if Sasaki goes down? What if these guys that they have in and they pay all these players and they fall victim to injury? Then it's a more level playing field. But at the end of the day, the Astros have to worry about who they have and what they have going forward. And I actually had the luxury this last weekend of talking with and meeting Hayden Wesneski, the Astros' newest pitcher. And I actually got an exclusive interview with him, and I'll be editing that and putting that up for tomorrow for everybody to see him interacting with some Houston area pitchers. And I'm excited about the starting rotation. I'm excited about our lineup. I still think we need an outfielder, Eric. But can we compete? Yes, we can compete in the AL. When it gets to the World Series, can we beat the Dodgers? Well, on paper, no. But do y'all remember, 2019, 2021? On paper, nobody had the Nationals. Nobody had the Braves winning. You still have to play the games. So all hope is not lost, but it sure makes it a lot tougher. Getting to the World Series is tougher than actually being in the World Series and winning it, because getting there is the really, really tough part, having to go through all the things you go through.
To show what the Dodgers have done this offseason, Blake Snell, $182 million. They just signed Tanner Scott to $72 million deal. The Cubs president just came out and said, well, we don't have the money to just outspend or just spend a lot of money out there. And people across baseball saying, well, if you want to make a lot of more money, you've got to spend. And so there's a lot of controversy about why everybody could do what the Dodgers are doing. They're choosing not to. And that's what the big narrative is right now. Teoscar Hernandez, he signed a $66 million. It wasn't really extension because he had to re-sign with the team. Blake Trinan, a $22 million deal. Michael Conforto joined the team, $17 million. They extended Tommy Edman, $74 million. And, of course, Roki Sasaki, which is a discount. He's probably a number two or three starter, $6.5 million for and he's going to be basically making minor league money for 3 years.
Yeah, look,
I mean,
Eric,
not minor league, but he's going to be going through like the just major league minimum, that type of thing, arbitration and everything.
Yeah. At the end of the day, here's kind of my take, and I kind of hinted at it at the beginning, is you have to create some kind of floor. Okay. You have to create some kind of spending floor. You have to figure out how you can incentivize owners to spend more money. Now, does it mean that all owners should defer, $800 billion in, money, or however much it is for the Dodgers? It's absolutely insane. Should there be some kind of limit on deferred contracts or some kind of regulation of deferred contracts? I don't mind a deferred contract. Deferred contracts have happened. It's been 50, 60 years since they've been happening. But the volume that they're deferred. It's funny. Teoscar Hernandez signed with the Dodgers and got deferred contract, then became a free agent, then signed another contract, and that's also deferred. Actually, he's getting paid. So he's going to be getting like 2 different paychecks from 2 different contracts. This guy's got some weird math going on. But what I think we need to do is you need to look at these small market teams. Let's take the Pirates, Paul Skeens. He was literally asked this weekend by a Pirates media guy, have the Pirates talk to you about an extension? Well, he's 3 years away from arbitration. I mean, second year into like a Bobby Witt Jr., maybe you start talking to him. But clubs literally don't have to talk to their guys until they're done with arbitration. And they can save money like that. We've seen what the Pirates do with guys that are nearing the end of their contract. They trade Musgrove, they trade Cole, all these players. they're holding on to some of their other guys. They've held on to Brian Hayes and all that stuff. But you've got, Eric, $1 billion in deferments in Major League Baseball going on right now, it seems like. And these small market teams, the Tampas, heck, I mean, if teams would spend more, that would be great. But what does that mean for, I don't know. It's gotten so muddied. The water's so muddied. We don't know, because if the Astros, let's say they lock down Framber Valdez, right? They extend him, they lock him down. And then they decide, you know what, we're going to go ahead and extend, I don't know, Jeremy Pena, okay? Those are massive extensions, and that limits what you can do beyond that. So the more you extend, the more you offer, the less you have. But you have to also be willing to spend the money. And unfortunately, that's where the Dodgers are. And as much as we hate it, they're leading the way. I think it makes baseball boring, like the whole Baseball is Boring podcast. That makes baseball boring. The Dodgers having – it's almost like you and I playing MLB The Show and me turning off the trade speculator and just allowing me to pick up every all-star on my team and stack my roster.
Yeah, that's what it kind of feels like. But guys, we'll go and focus a little bit more on the Astros in the next segment. Thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Go and check us out.
That's right. This episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sports book. And today I've got to tell you about FanDuel and their amazing things. We are here with you from the first game to the last game, and FanDuel is there with you from the first whistle to the final drive of the NFL playoffs. And I know Houstonians don't want to talk about the playoffs because we didn't know we were also battling the refs. But right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win your first bet. That's $300 that you get to keep the action going. The FanDuel app is easy to navigate. The variety of bets keeps every game exciting. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. No waiting around for winnings. Whether you're betting on your favorite team or just looking to add some extra excitement to the playoffs, FanDuel has you covered. So just visit FanDuel.com to join today and get started with $300 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
Hey guys, thank you for making Locked On Astros podcast your first listen every day. Whether it's on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to us. Make us first listen. Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts, go ahead and check us out. And I know I was told in a comment to not use the Matrix reference, but I'm going to go back to it because the Astros are at the point where they have to decide what they have to do. Are they going to take the red pill or the blue pill? Are they going to go ahead and decide to go over the luxury tax? I mean, they're already over it. But are they going to go and swallow the pill and just go ahead and bite the bullet, so to speak, and just go and pay the luxury tax, take the penalties, and go ahead and man up and go ahead and get that extra maybe arm for the bullpen, go and get the extra bat for the lineup and whatever else you need at the trade deadline? Because the Astros, as of right now, they are going to miss. Yes, they added a couple of good players in Walker and Paredes. But if you're looking at some of these juggernaut teams that are being created, the Astros may be a little bit behind. And I know if you look back to the Moneyball theory, that it's not about the money. I think the guy's name, I was looking up the Major League movie, was the third baseman. I think it was Corbin Burns' character,
Doran?
Roger Doran. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doran was the highest paid player on that team, and he didn't really have I'm the highest paid player. I don't really have to go out there and get make all the he just seemed like he didn't really want to do it because he was making a lot of money. And so if you have a team full of those type guys, I'm just making the money, I don't really have the attitude anymore. Or do you have a team full of hungry players that want to get you there? So
no, I mean, I think in the case of the Los Angeles Dodgers, you've got guys that are dogs. I mean, you got competitors. I mean, as much as you want to say, like in Houston, we don't like Mookie Betts because he was on the 2018 team with the Red Sox and all that scandal stuff there. But Freddie Freeman's a dude. Like Freddie Freeman is a guy that anybody would want on their team. Teoscar Hernandez has really begun to make a name for himself. And it really seems like at this point, it's just like stacking the bills, right? I kind of remember the Breaking Bad scene where Walter White's wife is, laundering money for him. And she goes into the storage unit and she unveils this massive stack of $100 bills. And he goes, "What's that?" She goes, "This is all the money we couldn't launder," right? Like there's just so much here. There's so much abundance. It's kind of like that's just how it is in LA. And so I think these guys go out and compete. I don't think you get the lazy player scenario that we see a lot of times happen when players sign those big contracts, because now they've got a lot riding on it, Eric. Okay, you got the highest paid contract, but can you perform? I mean, this last year, they proved it. And the Yankees really fell short in their competition versus the Dodgers. They weren't much competition once they got to the World Series. You would have liked to seen a closer series, a more competitive series. But at the end of the day, you have to take care of in-house what you need to take care of. And the Astros would tell you, I promise you, if you ask Dana Brown this question or about the Dodgers, he would say, "I'm not worried about them. I'm focused on us. I'm focused on getting us the farthest we can go. And we want to go out there and compete for a World Series, and we feel like we can."
I do want to bring up that on January 16th, in relation to the Major League movie, I know Bob Ueckler was in that movie. So he passed away at the age of 90. We all remember him from his, of course, his play-by-play calling. He has a great voice, but he was also in a lot of movies. He also played baseball. In his career record, he batted 200 with 14 home runs and 74 RBIs. He played in the 1964 World Series, but
Yeah.
he
Bob
was
Uecker he was a legend, just a bit outside. That was his famous call, Eric. But I mean, we've lost him. We've lost Ricky Henderson this year. I mean, we've lost some big names in baseball.
Yeah, definitely. So, so getting back to what the Astros need to do is they need to find, going back to the Moneyball theory, they got to find somebody to replace these big names. If you're not going to go out there and get anybody, you already $3 million over the CBTs right now. So you've got to find somebody that's going to play and be and contribute and not make a lot of money. So you do that from within. And so the Astros went ahead and invited some minor league players to the spring training. Brett, go and put that up.
What's that? Oh, for the right here?
Yes. No, not that. The other one.
Oh, right here. I'm sorry. Spring training, wrong one. Yes, go ahead.
Yeah. So Cam Smith, Jacob Melton, Bryce Matthews, Michael Uola, AJ Blueball, Jose Fleury were all invited to Major League spring training with the Astros.
Yeah.
You can look at where they rank. Of course, Cam Smith is in top 100 prospects in Major League Baseball. He is the Astros number one. Melton is most likely going to have impact out of spring training, especially with the Astros not having anybody to really take over for Kyle Tucker. If Melton performs at all during spring training, he's likely to earn a spot off the on the roster.
Yeah, definitely. No, I like these names. I love the fact that they bring in Cam Smith, because you've got to recognize where he stands in your organization, because he becomes the number one guy. Your first overall, Jacob Melton, your number 2, Bryce Matthews, your number 4, Miguel Uola, number 8, AJ Blueball, who I think will see some major league innings, and Jose Fleury, who could see some major league innings. Look, with the Astros questions, with maybe getting the bullpen short up and maybe needing some extra arms in case of injury, because you got guys coming off the IL that you don't know how they're going to perform, the Astros, I think, are going to be fine in this department. I don't know that they have to go out and get another arm. It would be nice to get another arm. But something else I want to mention, Eric, is that Billy Wagner is at his highest total right now of votes at 85.6%. His progress over the years has grown, and I really see Billy Wagner being someone who is going to get elected to the Hall of Fame, hopefully goes in as an Astro. And can you imagine if his son Will Wagner was here, he would probably top that list of major leaguer or minor leaguers that were invited or might be impacting this lineup right now. But we can't worry about that. Let bygones be bygones. I am excited about Major League Camp. We are 2 weeks away from pitchers and catchers reporting.
Right.
It is going to be really fun to see who comes out of it. Logan Van Way, Colton Gordon, so many names out there. This AJ Blueball kid who is an absolute stud. And so right here, the first pitchers and catchers report date is 2/14 for the Astros, 2/19 for the catchers, and that's their first full squad workout. I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah.
Full,
Right. No, you're right.
Yeah, sorry. Pitchers and catchers for the 14th, and then on the 19th, the first full squad workout. So, look,
Brett,
man,
one more thing before I know that we are not thinking anything about this, but Joe Espada on the 16th was asked about free agents. He said, yeah, we are in talks with free agents. We don't know if anybody, if anything's going to happen. He did mention Alex Bregman, that they are still keeping contact with him, and he's expressing their desire to keep him on the team. So whether you believe that or not, take it for what you will. The Astros will have to do some creative maneuvering if they do bring him back. But we've seen players change positions to bring a star in. We saw to bring in Jeff Kent. They did move in. They moved Craig Biggio to center field. So if they do bring Bregman back, which is very unlikely, they'll have to move somebody around. And I would think that Paredes would likely go to left field in that case.
Yeah, right. But look, I think Joe's being nice. I got to interview Joe Espada last year. Good guy. I think has a lot of real good personal friendships, especially with Bregman. So I think it's much ado about nothing, but it is something. And at this point, any little bit of news. But hey, y'all, stay safe this week. Please do not go out on the roads when they ice over. Just stay home. Make sure you've got water. Make sure you've got your supplies. Stay warm, like fire safety. Please be careful with those space heaters. Keep the blankets off of them. I'm just saying, but hey, if you get snow, I want to see your snow pictures. I want to see some snow angel pictures. I want to see some snowman. I want to see some Astros fans and Astros gear living it up in the snow, because we don't get it that often. But seriously, stay safe. We'll keep you guys in our prayers.
Write Locked On Astros in the snow or LOA or something like that.
There you go. Yeah, put Locked On Astros. That's right, man. Write Locked On Astros in the snow, and let's see what you got. Give us your best snow day experience, and really seriously.
If you do that, we'll put you in a drawing for a bobblehead or something. We can do that.
Oh yeah. You know what? Hey, you know what, Eric? I'm glad you mentioned that. Give us your snow picture. I'll give away this Justin Verlander and his dog, Justin Verlander and dog's bobblehead. Okay. I've been waiting to figure out a way to give this away. Good call, Eric. So you send us your snow day picture, and I will ship this to you. I'll even cover shipping cost, Eric.
Okay, guys, thank you for making us your first listen on Apple, Odyssey, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. Stay safe. Go and listen to Locked On Astros podcast, and go and subscribe to us. And hey, it's a snow day. Enjoy the next 2 days, and we'll see you next time. Go Astros.
Go Astros.